You're tuned into NAC Car Culture, your home of tough muscle cars, classic cruisers and high-performance imports. Proudly brought to you by NAC Insurance, specialists in modified and high-performance cars. Mount Shop, undercar specialists. And TENGTOOLS, get organised. Coming up in this week's episode, we check out Dale Williams' home garage built and tested LS1 Commodore. Ian Neary unveils Eruption, 14,000 hours worth of Plymouth GTX. And we get tech at Auckland's Marsh Motorsport. But first up, we're off to Morrinsville for the Scrap Palace Burnout Comp. Held on a typical spring day at the property of organiser Dion de Anvers, the annual competition's relaxed backyard vibe is actually a bit of a ruse. Sure, it may exhibit all the usual signs of an advanced bogan infestation, but behind the scenes, months of planning and strict safety procedures lay the foundation for what's shaping up as a very competitive form of motorsport in New Zealand.
Burnouts are a bit of an anomaly. You either get it or you don't. It's a pastime, it's a good time. We're all brought up around cars, entertaining a crowd. We all come to put a show on.
You've got to really give it a go and get out there. It's one of those things that's probably not for everyone. If you get a bit of a taste for it, it's quite good fun, like any motorsport or any sport.
It's a drug. It is a drug. Once you do your first burnout and you bang tyres and you get the smell of that smoke and the methanol and the adrenaline, oh, you're hooked. I don't think there's a day I wake up and I don't think about the car or the engine or the next show or where we're travelling to next. Our holidays are burnout holidays, so yeah, I love it.
I've come into this event, on and off for a few years now, and it's just getting bigger and bigger, and it will get bigger and bigger. I think it's down to Dion and his team that they run it really well. So, good on them. It's a good thing for New Zealand motorsport.
Continuously improving the event is something that we've focused on really hard, especially in the last 5 years. Safety is a big thing with us. It's effectively an invitation-only event now. We had grown above what we could handle in car numbers, so that's the way we've managed car numbers. I think the crowd appreciate it, and it certainly makes for a better event. The behaviour is just exemplary every year, and I think because of the perceived relaxed atmosphere and the family-friendly side of it, that sort of seems to be a big contributor to it.
I would regard Morrinsville as the best competition in New Zealand. This is what everyone comes to win, so you'll get the best of the best here.
People won't let on that it's not, but it is quite competitive. Obviously your aim is to try and win. I'd be lying if I said that wasn't the aim, but at the end of the day, if I come off with a smile on my face and the car's still running, I'm pretty happy. And anything else is just a bonus on top of that. So, yeah, competitiveness, yes, there is some competitiveness, absolutely.
Three guys get to wear judges' hats on the day. Aussie burnout legend Mick Brasher of U-Legal Corolla fame was shipped in for the occasion, joined by local heroes Shane, aka Arnie Donaldson, and Ricky Island.
Instant smoke, constant smoke, the volume of smoke, driver control, bang the tyres and drive off. To finish first you must finish.
You're ultimately looking for mistakes, hitting reverse, catching fire, dropping onto the grass, that sort of thing. Big revs, big smoke, someone having a good time, plenty of car control, and crowd response is always a winning combination. Reliability and durability goes a long way in a competition like this.
Believe it or not, there is a bit of a skill to it, and I'm still learning like everybody else, understanding the car and knowing what the car's going to do. Sometimes the car has a mind of its own.
If you can pop your tyres and leave the pad under your own steam, that's a win situation for me.
New Zealand's burnout scene is growing fast, but still in its infancy when you put it next to the big dollar league of Australian competition. Things are changing though, and just like any drag, circuit or drift machine, more and more cars are being purpose-built to withstand the torture test that only a burnout pad can dish out.
A lot of these cars you'll see around here are big dollar cars, and they're never intended for road use. They're not Hoons cars, and the drivers take this really seriously. They do take it as a competitive form of motorsport, because that's what it is. To win here, you need to turn up with good gear, and you need to have everything go your way. The days of it being a street bashing event, look, they're well gone.
It used to be street driven, and then it just got to the point where it just wasn't nice to drive it on the street, and you just get a lot of grief. So I just made the call one day and just thought, nah, it's just going to become a burnout vehicle, and I've never looked back. It's just been great. It's a 85 XF Falcon 4-door. It's running a 351 Cleveland with a 671 BDS blower set up on top. Twin 750 Dominators set up for the blower and all that. It's got all the fruit inside the motor. It's been a bit of a project and had a bit of money spent on it.
And Chris didn't have to go looking too far for a suitable candidate.
It was bought from a car yard, and it was my family car for a while, and purely because I had it, and people kept saying to me, oh, why do that? And I mean, I just take things like that as challenges. It's like putting a Cleveland in it. People giving me a lot of hassle about why didn't you go big block? Yes, I love big blocks, absolutely, but when people say you can't make power out of a small block, well, you know, challenge to me, challenge set, and I think I got it. There's definitely repairs at the end of the day, some bad ones, some minor ones. You expect it. It's just part and parcel of the job and the hassle of it. You just take your good with your bad and go with the flow, I guess, you know.
Showing Christchurch to Morrinsville and back type dedication was Michael in his 4-cylinder Corolla wagon.
2,000 Ks, yeah, with about three minutes with the skid. So, no, it's all about the time with your mates away, though. You know, we can't really do this kind of stuff down south. It's up here's a different kind of scene, car-wise. It's awesome. So 1980 Toyota Corolla K36. It's running at a 4-age, a 1600 like 4-cylinder turbo. 24-pounder Bose the same through it. Runs about 370 horse at the rear wheels. W55 gearbox out of like your Selecta Supra with a S13 rear end independent conversion. It's just running a bit of camber in the rear, something a bit different. I do get a bit of crap about it. People are like, why don't you get more into drifting and stuff like that? But I suppose ever since you're a kid, you know, you're always trying to race down your driveway and pop your tyre on your BMX and stuff. So I suppose now I'm just doing it with a Corolla with 2 wheels instead. It's something I'll probably never grow out of. It's awesome.
From the "this car is way too nice to skid" category, Barry's Monaro.
It's a 69 Monaro, HT Monaro, and it's got a 408 small block in it, stroke small block, with a 871 supercharger on it, power glide transmission, 9-inch diff.
The car has been in Barry's family for nearly its whole life, having been owned previously by his father and brother.
I'm pretty lucky. I think at the time I paid about $4,000 or $5,000 for it 20 odd years ago, and but you know, we spent a lot more than that on it since then, obviously. But no, I'll never sell it. It'll get passed on to my kids and they can fight over it. I haven't really purpose-built it for anything, I suppose, but it's it'll be a bit of a test today. Cooling system will be tested. But you know, if it gets too hot, I'll just shut it down. I'm not going to wreck anything for anyone else. So. Oh, it's a bit of fun, eh? Yeah, it's good to go somewhere that someone's puts an event on and you can have some fun.
When the smoke cleared, Sean Jury Showing saw off his competition and he was crowned Morrinsville's 2016 Burnout Master. And yep, while it's an event that still unashamedly celebrates its bogan roots, you only need to cast an eye over the ditch to see where it's heading.
Definitely got a stereotype as that, and hey, there's all walks of life and people here. People thought, oh, you know, a bunch of bogans did it. But we're not doing it on the street. It's in a controlled environment, and it is growing, and people are getting more and more used to it, and it's becoming a sport.
It really is. We went to Summer-NAC a couple of years ago, and they said to us it is actually, in fact, the highest paid motorsport in Australia. $250,000 to $300,000 worth of prize money every year. Huge there. We're playing catch up. We're probably 5 to 10 years behind, but you can hear in the background there's some fairly big gear coming out over here, and yeah, no, it's good. It's great to see it grow and become actually a legitimate sport rather than, you know, just a bogan-based kids on the street cutting O's, you know, sort of thing. So.
Of course, it's a bogan event. We're proud of that, but it's a bogan event that's done properly. We're really proud of that too.
Still to come on NAC Car Culture, Dale's LS1 powered VK Garage burnout machine, and Ian Neary drops Eruption, an 8-year SEMA quality build from right here in New Zealand. You're back with NAC Car Culture, kindly brought to you by the good people at NAC Insurance, TENGTOOLS and Mount Shop. We've got Dale's entry for Worst Neighbour of the Year very shortly on the show. But first, we stop in at the home of the Mount Shop Top Fuel dragster, Marsh Motorsport, for this week's NAC Tech Tip.
So I'm going to talk about the process of torquing up cylinder heads. It's a simple thing to do. As long as you follow all the steps and do it correctly, you won't have an issue. Always make sure you've got lube on the washer and the nut. Always torque a cylinder head up from the middle, going out, and go out evenly. What that does is brings the head down evenly, doesn't bring it down like this, so you don't have any weak spots, so you won't blow a gasket, so you won't have a water leak. To torque up a cylinder head is fairly simple. Use a torque wrench and always do it in 2 or 3 steps. So for a Ford, I do 30, 60 and 100. And that just brings it down evenly, so you're not pulling one down really hard and then another one. Bring it all down evenly so it comes down nicely. Torque wrench is fairly simple to use. You'll set this to the number you want, lock it, and when you get to that number, it'll click off. And that means you're tight enough. Once it's clicked, don't keep going because then you're over tightening it. When you recondition an engine, that's the main time you'll do it. You don't have to redo them unless you run a copper head gasket. Copper head gaskets have to be retorqued because they do squish. Normal head gaskets don't, you won't have to worry about it.
Thanks, Anthony. Right, thanks to the good folk at TENGTOOLS, it's time to check out a muscle car 8 years and 14,000 man-hours in the making. We don't make a habit of filming unveils, but those in the loop during Ian Neary's latest build assured us this was going to be something a bit special. And so we were along for the ride when Ian took the logical step of presenting his Plymouth GTX during the 37th National Mustang Convention. Wait, what?
What I've got here is a 1968 Plymouth GTX, and this is a culmination of an 8-year build, sometimes from hell, but now from heaven. It's a muscle car in my terms, a piece of automotive art. It's all Mopar powered with a Gen 3 Viper V10, a Tremec T56 6-speed manual with a Strange Dana Ultimate 60, and everything on the car is custom hand-built. The hours in the build, you're looking at around about just under 14,000. 10,000 of that's mine, and around about 4,000 from my trusted outworkers.
We've been lucky enough to follow the build of Ian's car from day one, sort of 8 years ago when he started talking pretty big about this car he's going to build, and it does live up to the hype. And that was sort of always the danger with a car that was hyped up during the build process to be the greatest. There's always a big danger that it could fall short, but he's nailed it. The car is a real credit to him. Hey, we're stoked to see him unveil the car today and see the reaction that it's got.
The feedback on the car has just been what I was overwhelmed with. I knew I'd built something good. I didn't realise that I've built it this good, so I'm a very, very proud person of myself and of my team.
Ian is no stranger to bolting together show-class cars, but when it was time to get all next level on the GTX, he had plenty of inspiration on hand.
I'm a judge for the Mother's Shine Award at SEMA, which is a lot of people will know about. This vehicle, I believe, is of the standard of SEMA.
Hey, I'll put it out there and say this is the best muscle car ever built in New Zealand. It's a big call, but have a look at the car and it is bang on.
The week before the big unveil, Ian sneaked the GTX into the NZV8 studio for a magazine cover shoot, where it quickly became very apparent just how much thought, skill and hours were injected into the build. Ian followed the path of his US peers, formulating a plan early and sticking to it all the way through. Well, almost.
I've got a original concept artwork of the car from the first month, and it pretty much looks exactly the same. The only difference is the power plant engine was going to be a 440 wedge, but through a few little changes we went to the Chrysler Viper motor, and it's just the marker lights on the side, which is a little touch from Troy.
8 years is a long time, and there's a lot of things that have gone into the car that you don't first notice, and that's probably what makes the car sort of the step above everything else. Everything on it is custom, down to sort of the bolts and washers that hold the front guards on, the colour that's been used on the brakes, the leather that was custom dyed overseas, every little thing. You look at sort of the underside of the bonnet. I think there was around 500 hours in smoothing out the underside of the bonnet, but at first glance, Joe probably doesn't notice that. What you really don't see is also the stuff underneath. You know, the chassis work under there done by Terry from Terry's Chassis Shop is amazing. It's a scratch-built chassis, but not in the form of sort of welded together box section rails as you think of a custom chassis. You know, this is laser cut, rolled, folded, beautifully crafted workmanship, and it's all hidden. You know, unless you can see the car on a hoist, it's hidden. Once you start picking at those details, you can soon see where the time goes.
But despite all that, the man they call Dr. Detail isn't going to be scared off by a few stone chips.
So I'm going to drive the car once I've done a 12 to 18 months show run with it, which is what it deserves, so people can enjoy it and see what I've built as a piece of automotive art. After that, there'll definitely be some tyre fraying.
Hey, the bar is moving, you know, and it's going to be interesting now to see who will be the next builder that will come out and try and top it. Every few years, you know, something else kind of comes out that's better than the last best thing. So I don't know, you set the benchmark so high. I'm looking forward to seeing who it is and what it is, because I don't know how they're going to beat it.
For your chance to win a TENGTOOLS Top Toolbox worth $359, simply head over to themotorhood.com. We'll be giving away one every week for 10 weeks. As an extra bonus, you will also receive a 7-piece screwdriver set to help you on your way to build your own toolkit. Get organised with TENGTOOLS. Okay, time now to check out this week's Mount Shop feature car. Meet Dale Williams' LS1 powered Holden Commodore.
Cars are who I am. Some guys like motorbikes and hey, I'm into my bikes as well, but if I'm not working on this car, I'll be working on a mate's car or helping someone else do their car. It is what it is, and yeah, it takes a big part of my life.
Dale spent plenty of hours behind the wheel, from a start in go-karts to piloting NZ V8 touring cars and production cars. So back on the street, something tame like a Toyota Prius was never really going to cut it.
Did BMX with my sister, and then we sort of got out of that, and it was like either motocross or go-karts, and the old man didn't like the idea of me racing motorbikes. Dad been into his rallying, and yeah, it was in the blood from a young age.
Originally rolling out of the Holden factory as a 4-cylinder model, the VK was running a transplanted 308 and a Celica 5-speed when Dale handed over the cash. The combo stuck around a while, but working in the trade, it didn't take long for the Commodore body to offend his senses.
Being a panel beater, you sort of see something and it's not your perfection, so yeah, it was about 2 or 3 months into it, we sort of ripped apart, and the wife was like, "Whoa, geez, you're into it." Yeah, I sort of built it with the intention to flick it off and make some money on it. I sort of buy and sell a few cars, and I didn't really expect to go overboard, and when mate Luke Cosford did the paintwork, it was like, oh, I actually like it. Just stuck with it, and it's growing on me, and it's very rarely that I get a car that I enjoy driving and have kept for longer than a couple of years.
It'd be fair to say that much of the driving pleasure comes from the LS1 swap. The later GM powerhouse now rests in a smoothed and de-loomed engine bay and serves up north of 300 kilowatts at the treads.
Yeah, well, I sort of did a bit of research on the internet and all that sort of stuff, and I just wanted a bit more power than the 308. We sort of dressed the car up. It was all good, put all the good running gear in it, and then it was sort of like, oh, just over the 308, not enough horsepower type thing coming out of a race car. And Wayne from ProTune, he suggested, oh, you know, you just do a cam and this for now, and you'll be quite impressed with the power with a little with a light car. And yeah, so did a little bit of research, and me and my wife Wendy sort of plucked away at home, did the conversion ourselves in the garage, and at the same time sort of de-loomed all the engine bay, and yeah, it's come up pretty damn good for a garage build. It's putting out 306 kilowatts at the wheels, which is 400 odd horse. I was blown away by it. It's got quite a big cam in it, and it's sort of quite an aggressive car to drive, but you can sort of cruise it. Like going down the motorway, you pluck it in 6th gear, and it's sort of on idle. It's pretty cool. It's got a long first gear, and it's because I've kept the VN nearly Steve ratio different up with a 6-speed T56 gearbox, so you sort of can cruise it, but then you've got the gears to thrash it. Yeah, it goes pretty damn good.
And there's plenty of positives to come out of using your home garage for the work and testing.
I like doing things myself, and with the odd thing like the exhaust getting done elsewhere and a couple other things. It's good doing it all at home. You used to, anything did go wrong, where to start with, where to go, But yeah, we're pretty happy that we did it all in the garage.
And like all good cars, it's never really finished.
Yeah, the next couple of steps are bigger brakes. I've got the Willwoods that in there, but I want to put the bigger rotors on there, and a few other things. And yeah, always going to be tutuing. I think I can't stand still for too long. It's an extremely fun car to drive for the horsepower that it's got and the weight that it weighs. It's something I really enjoy jumping into and go and do burnouts in your garage, or burnout comps, or drag racing, or hill climbs, or whatever. And so it's going to be a sort of a all-round car.
Want to see more cars in action like this? Jump onto themotorhood.com now and sign up for our totally free digital magazine. It's packed with the best bits from New Zealand performance car, NZV8 and New Zealand classic car magazines. Simply enter your email address and you'll get it direct to your inbox. Easy. That's us for this episode of NAC Car Culture. Coming up in next week's episode, we mark 50 years of Cam County's Port Road drags, Tony Hill's ultra-rare Mazda GTAE, and we check out what's on the go at Auckland's Force Motorsport. See you then. NAC Car Culture was proudly brought to you by NAC Insurance, specialists in modified and high-performance cars, Mount Shop, undercar specialists, and TENGTOOLS. Get organised.